Laughing at politicians is easy if they don't make you cry, but getting them to laugh at you while you poke fun at them is a real skill. Satire is so important in this country. It makes us giggle a little at our rather sordid past. A man who's a master at that is Pieter-Dirk Uys. How do you become a satirist?
Well, I didn't know what it meant until somebody said you're a satirist. I had to look it up. And I think it's a very nice label. It's a good scarf to put around your neck against the cold. I call myself an entertainer. The fact is I'm a South African, and everything that is entertaining is political, and very little of it is really funny. The truth is funnier than the joke. And I think when I started in the 70s, I think I was very childish. I thought I was really pissing off everybody and making my father cross and the dominee and the policeman. But really, truly, it was my way of looking beyond my fear as a white South African, as a, I thought, well-brought-up human being, living in an apartheid society, without a second thought of my extremely good life that I was having. And also, sexually, I had to change my lifestyle because being gay in the old South Africa was an impossible thing to admit to, because that was just the end of the road. And of course, if your friendships went across the colour bar, it was a double crime.
And it was very important watching you as a gay man dressed up as a woman, making the verkrampte old guard laugh at you. That's important, isn't it?
Well, it was extraordinary. I mean, I created Evita Besaidner purely because I needed somebody to have a mouth to say things I couldn't say. 1978, time of the information scandal. She came at the right time. Suddenly people liked her. And I think through my instinct, I knew that there was one thing she couldn't have, and that was a sense of humor, or an understanding of irony. And she doesn't. When people laugh, she thinks, oh, this Viola. And it's very sweet. She, member of the National Party then, I was the first person who would say, lock Pieter-Dirk Uys up, and I used to write letters on her letterhead, Croxley, pink letterhead, to the Minister of Police. And she would say, Adrian, do your job. You're the Minister of Police. Lock up Pieter-Dirk Uys. He's a communist, a terrorist, and he wears women's clothing. Do your job. Ha, ha, ha. And I would post the letter, and a letter came back 3 weeks later from the head of the police, Minister of Police, saying, Dear Evita, thank you for your very sweet note. Unfortunately, I can't lock up Pieter-Dirk Uys because our jails are full of everyone else. What a shock to realize that your target has a sense of humor. You know, the worst thing we ever say is stupid politicians. They are never stupid. We're stupid to allow them to get that far.
How important is it for people to laugh at themselves and to laugh at what's happening around them?
I don't think one can survive without a sense of humor. And I think many people have killed their sense of humor because they're frightened to laugh. And now political correctness, which is becoming the most awful duvet over your head. You know, you can't make fun of people. Of course you can make fun of people, but let them make fun of me as well. I don't want to demean people, I don't want to insult them, but I want to offend them, meaning I've rattled their political cage. President Trump, it's Evita Besaidner. Yes, no, I'm not President Ramaphosa's assistant. Well, not yet. Yes, I believe that you are interested in buying. Why? Well, I don't understand why you want to buy it. There's no uranium there, or oil. No, we've looked. It's just mainly wild animals and for tourists. No, but really, truly, I can tell you now, Kruger National Park is not for sale. But listen, why don't you buy Zimbabwe? How do
you navigate that fine line?
It's a little red light that in the back of your head goes, beep. You know, Muslim joke, no, not now. Another way. I have a Muslim character called Mr. Peterson, and I have various other characters that reflect problems in a society. But because I'm white and most of my government is not white, I don't want to cross that line and suddenly do an accent and have a blackface mentality. I don't like that. It doesn't work. I find it, that red line of racism gets very close to the edge of your foot. But in order to expose racism, you've got to show it. So it's a minefield. It's now a minefield of hashtags and hate speech. And I've just got to do my job carefully, and I want people to be enriched by the fact that they confront their fear and laugh at their fear.
So if somebody wants to do what you do, to get into the world of entertainment, to become a satirist, what should they look for? What should they practice? Where should they get the material from?
Well, first of all, if they want to be an entertainer, they can sing, they can dance, they can take their clothes off, they can stand on their hands. That's fantastic. If they really want to do what I am doing, and I hope it make it very difficult for them to follow in my footsteps, because it has to be original and you have to be really angry. But anger does not travel as entertainment. People don't, they are so bludgeoned by television and finger wagging and that you've got to really get them to relax, and you tickle them, and in the cotton wool of little ball there's a blade, and suddenly they go, oh, 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 where did that come from? So there's blood on the cotton wool. It is a way of, I call it 49% anger, 51% entertainment, not the other way around.
And you've obviously made a good career out of it. What are the tricks to making a good career out of this sort of...
Well, have a really corrupt government. That really helps. And I had a ghastly government during apartheid, and the one today, sadly, I'm so depressed and so unhappy, you know, that my democratic government has lost its sense of humour and it's become a gang. So now I sort of say, well, you know, viva South African democracy, T's and C's apply.